The best way to move forward in life is to figure out a way to get unstuck. Joining me now with 6 ways to get unstuck, build flexibility, and move forward in life is psychologist and sleep podcaster, Dr. Daniel Baughn. It is so great to see you, Dr. Baughn.
You too, Gayle. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you back.
Yes.
And I see you came with a book recommendation.
I do. This is a self-help recommendation that I encourage a lot of people to read. It's going to dovetail on what we talk a lot about today, but it's called The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris. And it gives you a way to build some flexibility to move past maybe some things that are keeping you really stuck in life, what we're going to talk about.
Okay, and so you say that the first thing to do is remember who you truly are.
Yeah, this one is really important because so many times we can let the problem become our identity. So maybe it's the idea that, you know, I'm a failure, or I'm never going to get good at that, or, you know, I just played pickleball the other day, you know, the other weekend, and oh my gosh, like it's a whole other world. And I'm like, I'm not sure I'm cut out to be that good at this. So, but, you know, so many times we can let the things that we mess up on become that identity. And really the antidote to this is really, number one, having some kindness, some compassion, but also really recognizing that this difficulty is not who you are. You are more than just what the struggle is. And a good kind of reference point that I like to bring up a lot is if you ever seen the Moana movie, you know, with Disney in there, it's really that scene where her grandmother reminds Moana who she truly is. That's really what you're looking for. These opportunities that say, you know what, I'm not just going to be defined by that thing that keeps showing up and keeps getting me stuck.
That's great advice. You also say experimental acceptance. What is that?
Yes. So this is really where a lot of times we tend to push away things that might be uncomfortable, whether it's an emotion or a thinking thought process that we might have, or even just like a situation that we're uncomfortable with. And so that experiential avoidance, really what we want to do with that is make space to just allow it to be there. So we're not trying to say that we agree with it or that we like it. We're just simply saying, you know what, this is an uncomfortable experience for me. This is a season of life that I'm not really that excited about. And that's really the key part of that, is making space for that rather than trying to keep pushing it away.
Interesting, interesting. This next one is really interesting as well to me. I did a little deep dive. You hear a lot about fusion, but what's diffusion?
Yes, absolutely. So this one's a really good example of so many times we let the conversation that's in our minds really dictate like who we are. So we might say that, you know what, maybe I'm someone that, I know we talked a lot about sleep. We might say in our minds like, oh, I'm horrible with sleep, I'm gonna keep struggling with it. And pretty soon we pretty much like fuse with that idea. We say that because I'm horrible at sleep, that just means I'm always gonna be bad at sleep. Rather than diffusion is learning how to put just a teeny tiny little bit of space between what you're thinking and who you are, to where over time you can actually say, you know what, I actually might be someone that doesn't always get the best rest, but I'm working every day to get better sleep. So you're learning how to put space between what you think and who you are.
Which it makes it a lot easier to switch the narrative.
Absolutely.
You say it's also important to have clear values in life.
Absolutely. This one is so important. In fact, every time I work with somebody, this is such a crucial part of what we do, is that when you're wanting to think about change, oftentimes we get stuck in this idea that I want the bad thing just to go away and then life will be better. But often it's not as simple as that. What we really want to think about is, what are the things that are really important to you? What do you want to spend your time and your energy towards? And the more we can focus on that instead of getting lost in the weeds on that stuff, the more you're going to have the natural motivation and the energy to start pushing towards those things that really matter. And so that's really what the goal of that is getting clear on what your values are, and also recognizing that your values can really change over time. You know, as different seasons of life come up and different priorities move around, our values can change too. It doesn't mean you're going to be an entirely different person per se, but it does mean that things that maybe were this important to you in one season of life might need to go down so that something else can go up.
Okay, that's good stuff. Committed action.
Yes, this one is the antidote to what we see so much, which is really just kind of avoidance in a lot of ways. Committed action is you trying to really say that, you know what, instead of kind of pushing that thing away, instead of trying to ignore it, I'm going to make some small but consistent steps that push me in the direction of where I want to go. Because so many times we start to believe that internal dialogue in our mind that says, oh, there's no way I can make these changes happen. There's no way I can, you know, start to get better sleep. Or or there's no way I can start to maybe make that lifestyle change that I've been thinking about, you know, with maybe activity levels or eating. All of these things start with small, consistent steps that move you in the direction of what matters to you.
All right, we have seconds left, but I want to end on a note that is so important: to be present.
Absolutely. I would say this is one of the single most important skills. We get so easily lost in worrying about what we've already done in the past or worrying about what might come up in the future, when really we only live in the right now. And that's really what mindfulness has a huge part to teach us, is that you can be aware of right now, and that's where you make change happen.
Yeah, you got to plant the seed where you're at right now.
Absolutely.
Not worry about the one you already planted or the one you might plant in the future. So,
Bingo. You got it.
All right, Dr.
Yes.
Daniel Baughn, as always, and thank you for the book recommendation.
Absolutely.
I love your recommendations.
Thank you. They're always good reads.
All right, we're going to list Dr. Baughn's 6 tips to get unstuck on BloomTampaBay.com.